Hello, I am Donny, and I am the cute one.
And I am Chelsea, and I'm the cute one.
TGIF, cuties.
To quote Brittany Cartwright from the great show Vanderpump Rules, I'm on the brim, Donny. I'm on the brim. Barely made it this week.
I know, it was a tough one for you this week.
It was. I'm just going to give the cuties just a tiny sneak peek into just my life this week. Yesterday, we were scheduled to record, but I thought that I was going to get the Italian disease. I couldn't sleep all night long, so I was like, let's postpone. I'm exhausted. Thank God we didn't record because my fire alarm started going off. And not only did it start going off, but it started yelling at me in English. A man's voice. Evacuate, evacuate, get to clean air immediately. Evacuate, evacuate. I didn't even know this was an option. It turned out it was the carbon monoxide alarm part of a fire alarm. It was literally a false alarm, thank God. I had touched up some paint in my daughter's room, and I guess my fire alarm got confused. But can you imagine we were recording and all of a sudden you'd hear, evacuate, evacuate.
I think it would go viral. So now next time I'm there, I'm going to leave some carbon monoxide in the air for you.
Just
and then
sprinkle
record
a
immediately.
teeny bit.
Yeah. You're sure this paint isn't bad, right?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
I looked it up and it is like a common trigger, and it was really humid yesterday, so I had windows open, but I don't think that there was enough airflow. But yeah, that was quite a day.
Well, not to one-up you, because you do have the Italian disease and possibly carbon monoxide in your home, but I'm so itchy.
Oh.
I have been for 24 hours, and luckily you gave me anti-itch cream out of the blue the other day, so I've been using that.
Yeah.
But I think what it is, and this is just my scientific hypothesis, but I think what it is I used my air condition for the first time, and we leave the window unit in throughout the whole thing, so I think there must have been water in there, which then brought mosquitoes in there. So when I took off the thing, I think they were in my house.
Or just like all of the New York City smog and pollution and pollen from the past year. You turn that machine on and whoosh.
Possibly, because I didn't clean the filter either. So maybe I'll do that today.
Well, that would be my best hypothesis. But this just further proves, I swear to beans, Donny, I am a little bit psychic. Because I truly did. I was going through my makeup kit and I had some anti-itch face lotion that I got after my chemical peel. And I just said, oh, Donny, I think that you would really like this. It feels really nice on the skin. Boom.
And now I have it. I lathered my whole nude body in it yesterday, thinking of you.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So this week, along with all of that, this week brought us the Idea of You premiere, Luke Skywalker's appearance at the White House, Spotify putting lyrics behind a paywall, the Met Gala, the continuation of Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, Hilary Duff's new baby, and Panera Bread removing charged drinks from their menu in light of wrongful death lawsuits. And somehow we've made it to Friday yet again.
We have.
Is it bad that I didn't have a charged drink until it was in the news for killing people? And then I was like, I kind of want to be in on the fun.
That's what I did with Four Loko.
But not the original, right?
No.
We talked about that
Yeah.
when you visited. And quick plug, patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. Donny and I did see each other in person. That's how I was able to give him the anti-itch cream. And we talked about it over on the Patreon. But
We also talked about, since we're already plugging, on that Patreon episode, we talk about what we did and like what friendly things we do together. But Chelsea finally watched Buffy, so we talk about that. And Chelsea made me watch The Good Wife, starring Juliana Margulies. So we talk about that as well.
But we also talked about how you never had an original Four Loko. And I do think that's probably best for the world, society, etc. But it really was a moment in time, a cultural reset.
I wonder if I could buy one on eBay.
Well, much like your air conditioning, it's been sitting there for quite some time. So who knows what it'll do to your body.
Maybe that'll be a Patreon video.
You drinking like a 10-year-old original Four Loko?
Yeah, I'm the new Michael Moore. Is that his name?
I mean, yeah.
That is his name, but I didn't mean Bowling for Columbine. I meant the McDonald's thing.
Was that him?
No, it wasn't.
No. I was like, okay. I mean, he is somebody.
Much like you with the charged lemonade, and much like me with wanting Four Loko after it was in the news. After I saw Super Size Me, it really made me want to go to McDonald's a lot.
Donny, I stopped the film and I went through the drive-thru. And I know that is the opposite of what that movie's trying to tell us, but seeing so much fries, I was like, well, I need some.
Agreed. I'm glad you put the Met Gala in this because I don't need to dissect it fully, but there are a few looks I need to talk about. Zendaya had 2 looks. They were both great. The guy from The Gilded Age that Sloane is obsessed with on Mummy Dearest, he looked very cheap to me. Like it looked like a school play. But Kiki was there, so that's all I need.
Why did Ed Sheeran look like he was in Dumb and Dumber?
I don't know.
I'm so confused by some of these looks. And I mean, this is on YouTube. You can see what we look like. So are we the people who should be weighing in? Maybe not, but I'm still going to do it. I did not like that powder blue suit. I know that trends are cyclical and everything old is new again, but I think we can leave powder blue suits in the past.
Zac Efron wore one in High School Musical 3, and I'm fine with it there. But besides that, that's the most recent one we should have in history.
I could agree with that.
Thank you. Also, the theme, I think they tried to fuck people up this year. The theme was Sleeping Beauties, Waking Up Fashion or something.
Oh, is that why Kim Kardashian made it so that she couldn't breathe? Because she wanted to be a true Sleeping Beauty?
I thought she looked great.
But why the shrug? Why the Aeropostale little
I don't know, but I
shrug?
loved that too.
You did? I felt like if you're going to destroy your organs, at least show me the goods.
Yeah, but we've seen her destroy her organs before. This made people talk about it. If she would have came in just that dress with the cinched waist, I think it would have been forgotten about.
I guess that's true. She didn't have any moments in history to ruin this year. This dress didn't belong to some icon of yesteryear, so she had to have something to talk about.
True.
And it was a grandmother's sweater.
I thought, what's the American Eagle, like, lounge line? Fairy or whatever? That's what it looked like to me.
Airy, yeah.
Not fairy. That's just me. So that was the theme. But then the dress code was supposed to be like florals and like a spring garden. But I think people got lines mixed because some people were in florals and stuff. But then there were some people that, like all those big dresses that look like comforters, I think they were really trying to give off a comforter look because of the Sleeping Beauty theme. It was a goddamn mess.
Anna Wintour and whoever else is deciding these themes, I do think that they probably have some sort of cauldron that they mix up and then just words pop out. And then it's kind of like you're playing connections and you try to figure out a theme together.
True. Yeah, possibly. So we're not talking about the Met Gala, cuties. That's the extent of us talking about the Met Gala. I, today, have brought a very troubling headline, and it is Raven Symone calls out her wife's haters in a TikTok video.
Thank goodness.
So she did a sit down with her wife on TikTok where she said, I am here with my wife, Miranda, to tell you to stop it in the comments and stop with the death threats in the DMs. It is disrespectful to her and in turn, disrespectful to me. Stop it. Now, the death threats and nasty comments came after the wife talked about how growing up, she did not watch That's So Raven on the Disney Channel. So people then took that to mean she was saying she didn't know who Raven Symone was until she met her and all these things like that. They were just putting words in her mouth. So death threats, obviously, get a life. Like, no matter what it's about, if you're messaging people online with a death threat, unless you know them personally and they have it come in, but like just a random, like if you were like, hey, you fucked my man, watch it. That's fine. I get
Don't
it.
just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk.
Exactly.
Boom, boom,
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But, like, if it's a celebrity, if it's a reality star, please get a life if you are messaging them death threats or anything, really. Any of your opinions about their lives, they don't fucking care.
So here is a step-by-step. I'm going to give a quick PSA. If you're somebody that likes to slide in the DMs and tip, 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 step 1, put your phone down. Step 2, go outside. Step 3, breathe in some air. Step 4, touch some grass.
I do think everything I've said is true. Death threats are ridiculous. get a life, get your own opinions that don't include what a celebrity's doing. However, I do have a litmus test for Disney Channel Golden Era shows. And if That's So Raven is not at the top, if you rank Wizards of Waverly Place, if you rank Hannah Montana above That's So Raven, you are racist. So I know that's not what these death threats and nasty comments were about, but I may leave a comment saying that to the wife.
Okay. Did she say she watched the Disney Channel?
She didn't.
So that's where we get into some gray areas, because I don't disagree. If you were watching the Disney Channel in that era, and That's So Raven was not in the top, I am looking at you sideways.
It's like a I don't watch Potomac and Atlanta person. If you did not see the greatness of Raven Symone when you were watching those other shows, racist.
I just can't get into Atlanta. You couldn't get into Nene Leakes, one of the greatest housewives of all time, who gave us such classics as Bloop, Now Why Am I in This? It's Getting Weird.
Yeah.
So I do agree about that, but I also think we don't know if she watched the Disney Channel.
I'll ask that first. I'll make it seem like I'm sticking up for her. Like, hey, at Miranda, did Miranda even watch the Disney Channel while you're all coming for her? And then she'll be like, yes, I did, ... And then I'll say, oh, racist.
I actually loved iCarly.
Okay, so that's everything. No, I do need to praise Raven Symone a little bit before I tear her down in the next couple seconds. On That's So Raven, she was doing Lucille Ball level comedy. She was in a full costume every episode. No one told her to dress like an old woman in the first episode, and yet she did, a fat one at that.
She should have been the host of the Tyra Banks show.
She should have been.
She could have dressed like Tyra, dressing like an unhoused person.
Oh, she would have thrived. Okay, so on paper, nothing they're saying is wrong. I just hate the wife. I foresee a divorce in the next 2 years. That's my Raven future seeing. But I can't put my finger on why I hate the wife, except that she feels, even though she didn't know who Raven was, I feel like she's cash muley.
It's like Simone Biles' husband saying that he didn't know who she was.
Yeah. Especially because I reached out to Raven Symone to come on this podcast before for a TGIF guest appearance. Wow. She responded and said she'd be interested, but she had 2 stipulations. One was we couldn't talk about Bill Cosby, which you're already shaking the line here then, because what the fuck else am I going to talk to you about?
Well, I would be happy to talk to her about literally anything, but the problem with us is if you tell us, specifically me, if you tell me I cannot talk about something, you're going to log onto the Zoom and I'm going to be like, you put the pill in the jello.
Yeah, she could sign on and I could truly forget she was on the Cosby Show. Like, if she would sign on right now, I wouldn't even think to ask her about Bill Cosby. I would talk to her about her favorite Met Gala look, about this death threat video. That wouldn't be a topic. However, when we get an email saying we can't talk about it, all I want to do is a half hour of a Bill Cosby impression. You know who's funny? Like that.
It really is so unfortunate that your best work is Bill Cosby. I don't think it would be appropriate for Bill Cosby to be a cutie giving a 1-minute recap. But
well, it depends. If we cover a movie like Never Been Kissed Again, I think he's a perfect guest.
Yes, he loves that movie.
The other stipulation, and this is where I really drew the line, was that the wife had to come with her. Yeah.
That's very Melissa McCarthy, I don't know. Dookie from Gilmore Girls. Our friend Hannah Brown has brought this to my attention, and it's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Why do Melissa and her husband have to be in every project together? And I don't like that Raven's like, yeah, my wife has to come on. What does she have to say?
I agree about the wife. I don't necessarily agree about Melissa McCartney and her husband, because this podcast is free. Raven's not getting paid. She didn't ask in the email if she was getting paid. She's just coming on. So the wife is just coming on to be a part of it and to not leave Raven alone. Melissa McCartney and her McCarthy. We have to look it up. I need to look it up right now.
Okay.
Their problem is not a problem to me because they are getting paid. So then that is 2 paychecks when it should really just be 1.
Okay.
Melissa McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Jenny McCartney.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Okay. Well, now you know. Do-do-do-do.
That's it. That's everything I had to say.
Glad you got that off your chest.
Thank you.
Now, I want to talk about the Stormy Daniels testimony at the Trump trial. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it all, just some light background information for cuties that are living under a rock. Stormy has alleged that she had a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006, and then in 2016, she was paid $130,000 by Trump's ex-lawyer, Michael Cohen, to keep this story away from the media. So that's just the background. I want to start out by saying, I think that no one drags you like a courtroom sketch artist. I don't think I have ever seen a courtroom drawing that I'm like, oh, that's cute. I feel like they go out of their way to make you look like a goblin. And certainly the people involved in this case, if we're looking at the hots versus the nots, we're already on teetering territory. I want to share my screen really quick because I want to show the YouTube cuties what we're working with here. Okay, so can you see my screen?
I can.
So as you can see here, you know, Donny, you told me on our Ella Enchanted episode that you don't like an undercooked ear. What do you think about this situation we've got going on here?
I mean, it truly looks like an anthill. However, there is indentation. Like, that is not undercooked.
So we've got this happening here. We've also got, I mean, if I took the stand and then I looked at the courtroom sketch, this finally might drive me to the makeover you've so desperately wanted me to get.
And I think Stormy Daniels is a decent looking woman.
These sketchroom court artists, like, get them behind an editing screen on Bravo because they're clearly saying something with their drawings, with their art. But that being said, I do want to share a drawing that my daughter made of me, unprompted, came up to me and said, Mommy, I drew you. So I do think that she might also have a future as a courtroom sketch artist because may I present me. So.
Is that lipstick?
That was lipstick, yep.
I couldn't tell if it was that or blood.
Well, could be that too. Who knows?
Remember when I called Stormy Daniels the cocksucking hero on Twitter and then all these people were mad at me?
I don't remember that, which is hard to believe because you're the only person I follow on Twitter. When was this?
When, like, the stuff first came out. I said, I forget what it was exactly. I really wish I remembered. The punchline was she's a cocksucking hero. And then she retweeted it because she thought it was funny. But then people thought it was like in a mean way. And they were like, you look like you suck cock. I was like, well, you're correct.
Also not a mean thing to say. Yeah. Just stating fact.
I love all of these things. I love sucking cock and I love Stormy Daniels. This is perfect. It was so bad that she had to like repost what I said again. And she was like, this was said in love, you guys.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah. And that's how I tie into the Trump trial.
6 degrees of separation.
I hope they show my tweet on a easel.
Maybe that'll be in the next courtroom sketch. Well, sucking dick is the great equalizer, I've heard.
It is.
So in her testimony, she talked about how Trump wears satin pajamas like Hugh Hefner and that he told her that he and Melania sleep in separate rooms. She mentioned this story about how Trump was much more polite and well-behaved after she swatted him in the butt with a magazine, which I just thought was funny. And then she discussed Trump comparing her to his daughter. He did say, you remind me of my daughter. She's smart and people underestimate her as well.
Not Tiffany.
The other one.
Uh-huh.
This is where we do get into good wife territory. I felt like I was watching an episode because Trump's lawyers asked that the sex talk be kept to a minimum, and they immediately objected when she mentioned missionary position. Prosecutors told the judge that they would not get into details of genitalia, and at one point, prosecutors objected to her talking themselves. So they objected to their own client because they said they were just trying their best to keep control of the witness because she just kind of went rogue and was just talking. But I love that they did have to specifically stipulate, like, we're not going to be talking about Trump's tiny ding-dong.
Oh, for sure.
What do you feel like would be the most mortifying thing somebody could say about you under oath? Like, what would be a question or a topic that if somebody who knows you well was hand on the Bible, had to answer the truth, that would just make you wither up and die inside?
My psoriasis asshole is pretty tough to look at.
I'd love to see what a sketch room court reporter could do with that one.
Besides that, I just wouldn't want to know people's real opinions of me.
Imagine they just lined people up and under oath, the only question they say is, what do you really think about Donny?
Yeah, like if it was a character assassination, if we found out that I've been hiding dead bodies under the floor this whole time, and then people were like, but was it him? Would he do that? And then all these people had to come out and say the worst story they've ever thought about me.
Well, you kind of just do that on a weekly basis.
But like little stuff. Like I do truly vile things. I say terrible things that other people have stopped saying in the early 2000s. I am not a good person. However,
you have those bodies under your floor, apparently. Like Edgar
in
Allan
the walls.
Poe.
That's why I was afraid that man was going to find them. But like, if someone had an opinion of those things, fine, that's fine. If you have an opinion that I used to bully a girl in high school and told her I'm going to give her a makeover, you're allowed to. But I would be afraid of someone having an opinion on things that, like, I don't think about. And that's why I'm afraid to be on Big Brother. Oh, the way Donny brushes his teeth just always made me sick, like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I think for me, it would be maybe me being under oath. Maybe I'm not so concerned what other people would testify about me, but like if I under oath had to honestly talk about my morning routine and the fact that I spend God knows how much money a year on DoorDashing just simple things like bagels and coffee to my house, I do think that having to admit things out loud would not only be admitting it to the court, but admitting to myself, you know? And I think that that ultimately would be the worst punishment, worse than jail.
I'm going to Instacart you a bag of bagels at the start of every week.
I have started doing that since your intervention with me, which I put behind a paywall. This was an example of when I admitted that little ditty of what I do, and you were so horrified. And it takes a lot to horrify you. Like I tell you pretty much most things that I'm doing all the time. But your reaction to me door dashing a single bagel and a Celsius to my house, it did make me reflect. And so I have just started getting 6 bagels at the start of the week.
Now, wait a second, though. I want to possibly defend you. This weekend, we got breakfast twice, and you had a bagel sandwich both days. So when you order it just for yourself with a Celsius, is it a bagel sandwich?
Yeah, it's a bagel sandwich.
Oh, that's allowed. I thought you were getting a bagel and cream cheese every day.
Well, the bagel sandwich, we're teetering because the bagel sandwich is a toasted salt bagel with plain cream cheese and a tomato. I could make that at home.
Okay, yeah. Then I go back to my original point.
But I've allowed myself, if I'm feeling a bacon, egg, and cheese, I will order it.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I'm not turning on an oven or a grill or a griddle or whatever you do to make those things.
No, and breakfast is the easiest meal to make. However, I still don't trust you with it.
No.
That fire alarm will be telling you to get out of the house and not by accident.
Imagine the fire alarm's like, that looks disgusting. That looks disgusting. Evacuate immediately.
Have you ever watched For the Love of DILFs?
No.
It's a gay dating show, but Stormy Daniels is the host.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of want to be on just so I can meet her. And then the week that someone tries to kick me out, I'll say, Stormy, remember when I said this on Twitter? And then she'll use her veto power, which at this point, 2 seasons in, she doesn't have a veto power. But once I make that connection, she'll change the rules.
She'll bring that veto card right out.
Yeah.
Is it still on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what's so crazy? We have a DILF show, and then we have 2 MILF shows. We have MILF Island and MILF Manor.
MILF Manor is chaotically evil, but
is that the
good.
one with the sons?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I was talking with my brother and my sister-in-law, and they had gotten super stoned with their friends and watched an episode, just them alone explaining the premise that a group of MILFs comes to the island. Then they have their little young playthings come to the island, but the reveal is that the little playthings are the sons of the MILFs. And the fact that everybody didn't just like throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm going to go to therapy, look inward, and get off of this reality show. No, they keep doing it. And don't the moms and the sons share a room so they can like talk about their dates and stuff?
They do.
Sick.
I love
watch.
it. I know, it's so good.
So that's all I have to say about this.
Okay.
Anything else to add about Stormy Daniels or being a witness on the stand or court?
No, Stormy's a cocksucking hero. You heard it here first.
God bless America. So I want to make my cutie of the week modern medicine. Because modern medicine allowed Khloe Kardashian to get Tristan Thompson to take 3 paternity tests because of her son, which I'm an idiot and it might be the carbon monoxide poisoning. But at first I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. He's out here doing what he's doing. And then I thought, well, wait just a minute, Khloe. If he's out here doing what he's doing, that doesn't affect what you're doing in your womb.
Right. Uh-huh.
But she talks about how he was super offended by that, which yeah. And then she talks more about the reasons for the paternity test. And she says, my son looks just like my brother. Because he was an IVF baby or a surrogate baby, I was like, Rob, have you ever donated sperm anywhere?
Ew.
So that's why she got paternity tests, to make sure that the father isn't Rob Socks Kardashian.
Wow. Now, here's my thing. If she is going to pay money for 3 paternity tests, 3 she got, right? If she's going to pay for 3, just make it 4 and find out who your own father is, because it was O.J. Simpson. And I won't rest until I see results.
Well,
I can pull up a side-by-side if you need me to go further.
I've seen the side-by-sides. I have also seen the side-by-sides of her and that hairdresser, too, which is curious. But to me, if my child looked like my brother, I would be like, genetics. That makes sense.
Right.
My child looks like my brother because my son is a boy, my brother is a boy, we are related.
Yes.
Genes. So for her to be so confused to the point of asking her brother, have you donated sperm? It gives me pause. That seems like she seems genuinely worried that her son looks like her brother.
Agreed.
Do you remember that episode in season 1 where they were going to put it to rest? And she took a paternity test on the show. That was the same era that Kim was getting her x-rays on her butt to show she hadn't gotten implants and yada, yada, yada. But the conclusion of the Who's My Daddy storyline of season 1 of the Kardashians was Khloe ripping up the envelope and being like, I don't need to know. Robert Kardashian is my dad. And I just feel like if we're showing Kim Kardashian's x-rayed ass to prove a point, why aren't we having our Maury, you are not the father reveal?
Because that paper came in and said something else. That's why. And I hate when people rip that up. Because for health, your heart can be full of Rob Kardashian. Amanda Seyfried's heart can be full of all 3 of those men in Mamma Mia. I get it. But
your heart could also be full of cardiac arrest.
Yes. I think it's important we know biologically, if we have the option to know, what that body does.
Well, we need to know what that body does. But also, if you are going to make the choice to make it a storyline, don't give me blue balls.
No.
Let me come.
Yeah. And that's where Bravo probably got the idea, and they've been doing it ever since. Nothing but blue balls. Now, my cutie of the week,
speaking of blue balls,
is Lea Michele's dress at the Met Gala. So Lea Michele is my cutie of the week. The dress was just my segue. She looked so cheap and confused at the Met Gala.
How is this the cutie of the week if she literally didn't look cute?
I need to get her name in the press.
She's not going to read it.
Exactly. Someone on Twitter was like, I don't know what I mean by this, but she looks illiterate. And I agree. Every picture of her was like this. And the dress looked, again, cheap, like a school play, and it had flowers all over the front. This ain't it, babe.
This ain't it.
And you know I love her. Snuck that out. And that's it. That's my cutie of the week. So, cuties.
Okay. Our cuties of the week are getting more and more,
That'll make people watch on YouTube, because Chelsea did do some hand movements. What they were, you'll never know, unless you watch on YouTube. So go now. The link is in the show notes. And then on Monday, we will be covering the Stepford Wives, the Nicole Kidman one.
Marvelous.
And that's it. We will talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Bye.
Bye.